Всем привет and welcome to St. Petersburg in Russia. It is an absolutely stunning city, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you an overview of the Michel Thomas method for learning Russian. Now, Michel Thomas was a guy who actually inspired me an awful lot because when I was learning Italian back at university, I actually stumbled across this course in a bookshop, and it absolutely transformed my relationship with learning languages. So in today's Tip Thursday, I'm going to be running you through exactly how the methodology works in the course and the pros and the cons, and how Michel Thomas himself transformed my life and my relationship with learning languages. But first, let's go and take a walk around the beautiful city of St. Petersburg, because if you go and learn Russian, this is actually where you're going to use it, obviously with the local people here. You're going to speak to them in their native tongue. So let's go. Поехали. So Michel Thomas claimed that there was no such thing as a bad student, only a bad teacher. Now, I actually discovered it after I'd had a remarkable trip to Italy back when I was in university, and I went into my local bookshop. I was browsing through all the books, and you had all the standard textbooks that were like basically getting to memorize lots of vocabulary or grammar rules, all very dry. And then I came across the Michel Thomas courses, and what attracted me or caught my attention originally was at the back of it, still something like no rote memorization, no learning grammar rules. And this really appealed to me because that's what had frustrated me, and I had really struggled with learning languages in high school. I'm not someone who was like talented or had some sort of language learning gene, or it came very easy to. I actually had to go through this long process in order to learn languages, and Michel Thomas was the course that really was a watershed in me learning languages, because it really transformed everything. So let's go and take a look at what actually is inside the course, the method, the strengths of it, and actually the weaknesses of it. So let's get into the more nitty-gritty and the details. Поехали. Очень вкусно. So the method, how does Michel Thomas work? How do the courses work? Now, Michel Thomas himself was on the original recordings for German, French, Italian, and Spanish, but he did not actually make a Russian course in his lifetime. So it is his method with another teacher, and you're going to join a virtual classroom. So there are two other students on the recordings, and basically you pause and then you speak when it's your turn in the class. Yeah, basically the course or the method provides you with a series of building blocks that are going to allow you to be able to build up basic sentences in the language really, really quickly. So quick example might be, because I have my coffee in front of me here, flat white, I'm a little bit obsessed with that. To say I want in Russian, it's going to be hachu, and to drink is going to be pit. And this is a coffee, so how would you say I want to drink the coffee? It's going to be obviously those three component parts, and you've already learned previously I want, hachu, pit, coffee. So that's basically what it allows you to do. And while this seems a little bit simplistic, it's actually great when you start off in a language, because it doesn't overcomplicate things. You want to say simple, you want to communicate simple desires and wants when you start off in the language. So this I found great, not just in Russian, but also the other languages that I use the method for. So in the beginning, boom, you get a huge boost from using it, and that's one of the things that I really like about it. But that's basically in a nutshell how the method works. It's going to allow you to build up these blocks, and then you're going to use them interchangeably. Like maybe you say, instead of I want to drink the coffee, maybe it's going to be something like I want to drink the tea, so я хочу пить chai. You just have to learn one word, and then you can make a complete new sentence based on what you've learned previously. So this substitution is great, and that's a fundamental part of the learning method. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a demonstration about how this method works. So basically I'm going to listen to the audio, the book is here, I have the audio playing, I'm joining the class as a third student. So let's see how I get on. Bra. Yeah.
Сестра.
So obviously you're learning incrementally as you go along, and it does use some spaced repetition because, you know, later on, after you've learned, like as I gave my example, I want to drink the coffee. You may use coffee in another context. You're going to use I want in another context. So these words or phrases that you learn are going to come up again later and later, and it's going to be basically because they're also highly frequently used when you're speaking in the beginning at least. So that's great, and then you get reminded what you learned before, so you're not going to forget it. So that in a nutshell is how the system works. But is it good or is it bad? So what about the strengths of the Michel Thomas method? Now, it gives you a very strong, solid basis in the language, gets you started. The grammar is actually simplified a lot, which is great when you start off. I'm not a big fan of learning lots of grammatical charts and all the structure. It just complicates things too much. It makes it harder to actually go and speak the language. And with these building blocks that Michel Thomas introduced, the course introduces, that's really, really great when you come here, say, to Odessa on the shores of the Black Sea, and you want to start speaking in Russian. Then you maybe want to approach some pretty Ukrainian girls. Actually having that very simplified structure in your head with these building blocks makes it really a lot easier to have the confidence to go over and start a conversation. And you tend to learn like the vocabulary also in chunks because they're introduced not as individual words. That's also great for helping you to memorize things in context. That's also another plus with the course. So overall, I would say that the strengths are a simplified approach to the grammar, learning vocabulary in chunks, being able to have these building blocks, very simple constructions that you can then switch in and out different parts like a verb or a different noun, for example. And that's actually just really great for getting you started, getting those first conversations when you come to a city like Odessa, or maybe it's going to be St. Petersburg like I was earlier. But there are a few weaknesses to the course, so let's go into those. So those weaknesses in the Michel Thomas method, what are they? Well, one of them is going to be understanding the people who are just walking past me right now, and that's real native speakers speaking at a fast, native-like pace when you first get here, because in the Michel Thomas everything it's like a classroom situation. It's not going to be that spontaneity and really rapid pace that you're going to encounter when you first come to speak Russian or practice the Russian you've learned. So that's definitely a weakness. It doesn't prepare you for that. Also, in terms of pronunciation, it doesn't provide any way to compare how you are pronouncing the words when you start off with how they should sound approximately to be understood by a native speaker. There are going to be sounds that don't exist in your native language that are going to exist in Russian, and there are going to be two problems with that. One is that you're not going to know how to make that sound with your mouth. Number two, you're probably not even going to hear the difference. You're going to approximate yourself with a sound that's similar in your own native tongue, and that causes confusion maybe with the understanding for native speakers actually. If you can't pronounce the word properly, you use a different letter. So that's definitely a second weakness. The third weakness is that it doesn't prepare you for reading, because it's an audio course, and you're going to see signs around you here when you come to obviously a country where Russian is the main language. That's going to be very tricky in the beginning if you don't have any practice reading. So that's something you're going to have to work on in addition to using the Michel Thomas course. So if you would like to purchase a copy of one of the Michel Thomas Russian courses, then I have something very special for you. I have negotiated on your behalf a 40% discount that is valid until end of August 2019. I'm gonna put a link below to where you can buy the courses below in the description to this video. The special code is very easy. It's just Russian. That's all you have to write, and you get a 40% discount. I'm publishing this video at the end of July 2019, so it's just over maybe about five weeks. It's going to be valid for 4, so definitely take action. Go buy it if you want to make progress with your Russian. Udachi, which is good luck, and до свидания. See you in the next video. So do I recommend that you buy the Michel Thomas courses to learn Russian? This was the course that really got me enthusiastic and excited about learning languages, and I still think the method is the best one that I've seen on the market for when you start Russian from a big commercial company. So I'm definitely saying thumbs up. You should overall consider buying it. So if you're planning to visit somewhere like Odessa, in Ukraine, or St. Petersburg in Russia, or another Russian-speaking city, and also if you have a friend or you know someone who's going to travel in this region, don't be naive. The English-speaking skills in Eastern Europe are the lowest grade in general. Like, it's a bit like rural China in terms of the English language skills. I've saw a ranking of them on the internet. It's not like Central Europe, not like countries like Hungary or the Czech Republic, where you can get them basically do everything in English. You're going to struggle, and more importantly, you can actually stand out more yourself if you come here, and you can at least build up those simple sentences and address the people in Russian. It's going to make a big difference. Definitely keep that in mind. Share it with your friends. If you've enjoyed this video, big thumbs up, smash that like button, drop me a comment if you have other questions about that. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, there's a little subscribe button. On this channel in general, I'm giving you a real taste of what it's like to travel in Eastern Europe and live the Tsar experience. And you're basically going to be seeing what a cool place, badass place it is to travel here, meet beautiful women, stay safe, not end up in scam by those naive Western tourists who show up here, and at times got more language tips, how to learn Russian or another local language like Ukrainian, Belarusian, or Romanian. See you very soon in the next video. Going to be making lots of content now from Odessa over the next 2 weeks. Just had the Odessa Film Festival. Gonna have some more vlogs, so stay tuned for that. See you in the next video. Do побачення. До свидания. Ciao.
Tsar Experience.